really want to say one more time, I think I can say so many times, thank you for Carol Daniel, for our wonderful PhD student who always bring us the best of this field, and thank you for bringing this wonderful group for us in this very hard time. So I think I will give now the place to Carol to introduce our participants and to present.
Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Karina. Thank you all very much for being here at this early noon hour, lunch hour. So I really appreciated you taking the time of your heavy schedule to be here. So I'm really very privileged to be in this school and to have teachers like Professor Karina and Kevin. And it's really an inspirational place for me after spending over 20 years working with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in the field. Coming here to reflect on that work experience is tremendously helpful in my personal transformation on how I see things. And this is where I thought I can bring this group in my own transformation, because I was very angry when I was working in Israel-Palestine, being there for 20 years working in this field since the age of 18 until almost 39. So groups like Combatants, and I know Suli since 7 years. We were working together in a group called Ex-Warriors, Crossing Borders, an extreme group of right-wingers, settlers, ex-fighters, Israelis, ex-fighters, Palestinians, also very hard group. And Suli this is how I met him. We worked together for 3 years on this group to moderate the discussions. And I have to say, you get, after a while, irritated by the fact that you cannot change things on the ground, that you cannot really, you can talk in a circle and dialogue and bring to people, to understand each other. So this is an example where when I left back my country 2 years ago, I felt I did everything I can do in this conflict, and I had a lot of inspirational times with hundreds of groups and organizations, international and local and so on. But I have to say something, that this group is so different from anything I worked with before or I know before as a Palestinian who is also an Israeli resident, citizen. And I have to say this group can put the focus on what it matters, and what it matters really is changing people's hearts about each other through the nonviolence. Because dialogue can bring that, but not the same way as joint activism and getting to know each other in the field, in their own places, getting to know the pains of each other. So this group has been in the U.S. for the past 2 weeks or so, and they've been all over almost 7 states or so, and they've been in D.C. This is the 3rd day, and I've been helping them meeting people from State Department to USIP, and also potential partners from the local NGOs here, as well as scholars and so on. And I have to say, everyone is very excited about them because they are very inspirational people. We will hear shortly from them. And what I see in them mostly, and this is where my personal transformation is, that non-violence is the only way. I mean, sometimes when you are kind of under occupation, colonized, whatever it is, you see, no, you have to fight it. You have to show them that you also have power, and you have to, but you can do that in another way. And it's really, really, really important work that they're doing. Maya will be talking about Memorial Day that brings both Israeli and Palestinian bereaved families and people to share their pain together during this Memorial Day. And so we will talk about his personal transformation and what had him being from prison, from being in a place of believing that showing them who we are is the only way to bring peace, to being with them and working with them, to get to something. And Muhammad is from East Jerusalem, and he will be talking about the current situation as well as the structure of this organization and what we are hoping to get here. So thank you again for being here and for accommodating, in your agenda this meeting. We have, as I said, intensive meetings all day, all night until 10 today, and finding the time for this is really important for ASCAR and for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm so far tired from my story, so I'm going to try. My name is Sulaiman Khatib, and thanks Carol for bringing us here. It's really important, and I'm really happy also to see some people that I know, and they're friends of mine, so I already feel in the same family. We'll talk later after my.
My name is Muhammad Aweda. I'm from East Jerusalem, village in Silwan. I'm a social worker, and I'm the general coordinator of the Palestinians.
My name is Maya Katz. I'm Israeli. I live in Tel Aviv, and I'm a clinical psychologist. And in my spare time, I volunteer in Combatants for Peace. I'm a member of Tel Aviv Nablus group and the Syrian community of the movement. And I'm the producer of a joint Israeli-Palestinian Memorial Day service. And I'm very, very happy to be here today.
I will speak shortly about the movement,
Of course.
so that you can understand why we are here and what Combatants for Peace. In the middle of 2005, few guys of ex-prisoners, ex-fighters from the Palestinian side and ex-soldiers from the Israeli side, but from the high level, from the both sides, they decided to meet and to speak about the non-violent resistance in the middle of the second intifada, in the middle of the shooting between Beit Jala and Gil. So they decide to found a place that they can meet, but all of you knowing the Palestinian can go to the Israeli side and the Israeli side can go to the Palestinian side. So they decide to meet in area unlegal but less legal in Beit Jala, because it's see that it's still under the army. The first time they had met, the atmosphere was full of fear and suspicion. Nobody knowing each other from the checkpoints or from the past in the present, and they had fear from each other. So the Palestinian side was thinking like the Israeli side is coming from the Shabak and intelligence, and the Israeli side, they were thinking that they will kidnap us or they will kill us, they will kill them. So it took a long time until they have, let's say, the peace between them, between each other. It took almost 1 year until it established in 2006. And they agreed to be together, binational, the both sides, to end the occupation, to build two states, living peace next to each other. From that time it was one big group, but because of the need from the villagers and from the cities around Palestine and Israel. So we make it 6 groups, but it's twins groups. Like every city next to city, it will be one group from the both sides because it's binational. Example, Hebron, Beersheba, from the south. From the north, it will be Tulkarem, Tel Aviv, Nablus, Tulkarem. In the middle, it will be like Bethlehem, Jerusalem, or Jericho, Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, Ramallah. And from that time, it's become 6 groups, and we will open another 2 groups. Group will be from the north, will be Jenin, Haifa, and also group just for women group from the post. And we're speaking about both sides, we're speaking equally. We have a coordinator here, we have a coordinator here. We have a general coordinator, we have a general coordinator. We have the same positions. We have a steering committee, 13 from every side. We're meeting once in a month, and we decide how we will act the next month. We are not an organization of hummus food. We don't sit to eat and to drink coffee and to speak about the non-violence and violence and 2 states and 1 state. No. We're working, the 6 groups, having every group having something unique to work with. The North group is working with the theater of the press. The South group is working with to help villagers not to demolish their homes. I think mostly they know Susia example. The North village. Whole village, they want to destroy their homes because they want to build another settlement. In the middle, like, and in the north, like Nablus and like Beit Jala, they're making tools to show the Israeli side and the political side what is the occupation, what is the daily life. Because unfortunately, the Israeli side, they don't know anything about the Palestinian side. The first meeting between the two sides, it's through the checkpoint. He's a kid, 18 years old, is having M60, he's standing near the checkpoint, thinking like he depends on his people and all of this is terrorist. And they're thinking he's a terrorist. He's keeping them in jail and he's taking their freedom. So we're making this conversation between the both sides to show our neighbors, not all of them is terrorists and not all of them is soldiers and so on. We're having groups that they're making making now, and through the pre-army. We're also speaking with the pre-army in the Israeli side, the Israeli before they go into the army, to show them that you will go and farm and meet human beings. We're having groups that helping the farmers to get to their fields, because because most of the farmers, they can't to go to their fields because the settlers, they don't give them. We're having groups that's working with information, to get information for the new settlement, new plans of the government of Israel, and we're showing and we're giving information to the USA, embassy, or to the EU. And because, so we're making this like a net from the north to the south to help. And we're making every month one big demonstration for all the groups on the field. This is a little short of the organization that we're working with, and we're happy to see all. Thank you.
We will just show you a short film that's a picture about the movement. Right?
I'm Hanalon. As an officer in the Israeli Defense Forces, it was my duty to defend my country. I participated in the military occupation of Palestinian people. I saw that what I was doing in the army was only giving rise to more violence and hate.
My name is Salman Khatib. As a Palestinian fighter, I was part of the armed resistance against the Israeli occupation. I came to understand that my actions only brought more violence. I knew I could no longer take part in it.
We put our fear and mistrust aside and came together to form Combatants for Peace. We are a
a binational Israeli-Palestinian movement dedicated to non-violence.
We are the only movement in the world in which combatants in an ongoing conflict have laid down their weapons and are working together for peace. Our goal is to promote an end to the occupation and the creation of a Palestinian state.
To have two peoples living side by side in peace and dignity.
Together, our Israeli and Palestinian members use art, theater, and other creative activities to demonstrate to people on both sides that we can rise above fear and hatred.
That former enemies can become partners in peace. And that together we can create a better future for both peoples.
The media only shows us images of violence and hate, driving us further apart. We engage in activities that embody a different reality. These are the images that bring people together. Your support will help us fund a media campaign and allow us to expand our unique brand of creative activism.
With your support, we can reach a much wider audience. Help us make a statement that our leaders can't ignore.
אנחנו רוצים שהילדים שלנו ושלכם יחיו בשקט וביחד תוך לב לא של נקמה ולשון כעס, אלא לב של לסלוח ולאהוב. אין פתרון צבאי לסכסוך שלנו. אם אנחנו לוחמים לשלום, יכולים להיות ביחד ולהיאבק ביחד בצורה לא אלימה, כן שאר האנשים יכולים. במעבר אנחנו בעלינו. תודה רבה.
Please show your support by joining Combatants for Peace and supporting this campaign in any way you can.
Please donate and share this message with everyone you know.
Your voice is critical, now more than ever.
This was during Gaza war last year. So some people here, I think they've seen it a few times. I guess. Myself too. Yeah.
Inspiring.
Thank you. I think because we came late, we went to the other campus. So back home we would say because of the checkpoint, but there's no checkpoint. And Muhammad was telling me my feelings were out of town. I told them, leave feelings now. We had Google Map. Anyway, so I think today maybe we do like shortly our stories, but feel free to ask anything now or to be in touch later because of the time. And I feel people here are really involved in the things there, so maybe shortly myself, I born in Jerusalem. My village, Hizma, it's called, behind the wall now, out of Jerusalem. Historically, it's a Jerusalemite neighborhood or village since Canaanite time, because that's what we find under the ground. The archaeology. So you can find the Canaanite from the Canaanite time and so on. I'm writing a book about my story with my friend. I'm not the writer, I'm telling. But so I like history. So this is important for me to say that my family originally from that village. That's their memories. That's what they know. So I shortly when I was 14, I did involve in the Palestinian struggle. But at that time, I believed or I was attracted to the armed struggle and Arafat time and the Che Guevara and the revolutionary ideas. Of course, when I was 14, in my school it was not allowed to use the word Palestine. To say the word Palestine was not allowed. So me and a few people, we were very active to bring the Palestinian flags into the school because it was under Israeli control back in the days. So we had to do like write slogans in the walls, flags and the electricity, and the school, close the school so the students go out, throw stones, and the army will come. In the end, I became very active compared to my generation. I was connected to older group. So I recruited 4 kids, students, 14 years old, to join the struggle. I was reading also political magazines. That was also secret. So I was a bit aware more than my friends. And so we trained, I did everything I could when I was 14, from throwing stones, cocktail Molotov, or Molotov cocktail, every time I have mistake with that. But also, I want to have guns, because in September, we will have, I'm talking back in the days, we'll have a memory of Sabra and Shatila massacre. So people here maybe remember. So for me, I seen the pictures on the TV, and in that same time, they built a settlement between my village and Jerusalem. So my village road, historical life, changed and cut into different life with bringing Russian immigration that don't speak Hebrew. Zgadzev it's called. So just to mention here, because sometimes we say settlement or not settlement. Navi Yaqub was already there, existed like a long time ago. And my village have a good connection with them. My football team was a mix from my village and from Navi Yaqub. But with the new settlement, the Zgadzev and Russian, that also the cultural wise, and the tension became very high because it's based on the land of a few villages, Hizma, Beit Hanina, Shafar. These are around Jerusalem. And our life became dangerous, and we felt a threat of our place that will be taken slowly. So, you know, I was 14, I was not aware of all the political things, but feelings more than logical thinking. So I wanted to have guns and to take revenge and use it against the Israelis in the memory of Sabra and Shatila in September. So in August, they demolished a house in my village, and the son of the family that they demolished their house because of the permit thing, the legal, not legal. He was angry because he was not active, he was not politically active, so he agreed to join me to attack 2 Israelis, to take their guns in order to use them later on. And that's what we did. So we used knives. So we attacked 2 soldiers. They were 18 years old, 20 years old. I was 14 and a half at that moment. My friend was 17 and a half. Anyway, this ended up with a slightly wounded for the 2 Israelis. And we escaped from the area. They did curfew and check and all that. After a few days, they also drew us on the TV. So it was a big drama in the area. But my friend had a golden teeth, and I have a big hair. You know, at that age, you know, I want to be military and Che Guevara and a big hair, and that was my mind, honestly. So they drew us, and we didn't show when they did the curfew. They checked everybody's teeth, but we didn't came to the school, to the yard, so they can tell who didn't came. So we escaped to other area. After 3 days, 4 days, we came back home, everybody, and then they arrested us. So I was arrested when I was 14 and a half. And so I used to go to the court in Ramallah, where it's now Abbas sitting. They just changed the hat, man. So basically, yeah, so I was the youngest prisoner at that time. I'm talking about a few months before the first intifada. They used to have 120 kids from West Bank in jails in Hebron. So I lived with them. Mostly they were from the refugee camps, mostly. My group and one other group, the only 2 groups from villages at that moment. It was not easy, you know, I'm 14 and a half, I came from a village, you know, shy. I was shy, still a bit. And not easy, you know, like the cultural part also not easy. We are not one thing, all the Palestinian people. Anyway, so I was very active in jail because I was the highest sentence between the teenagers. So if there's any story, let's say, we do also investigation with what we call them suspicious people, to be connected to the Israeli, like spy. If there's a case like this, I will take it on my shoulders, because it doesn't matter if they give me another 6 months, because I was sentenced 15 years. Exactly my age. My friend was sentenced 18 years, his age. It's a military court, it was a military court. Anyway, shortly, I spent 10 years and a half in jail. And that time, generally I was active with other prisoners, and generally we do non-violence actions to improve the daily life in jail. Mainly we do hunger strike. So I was with other prisoners a few times in the hunger strike. My first one, I was 15, and we did 10 days of hunger strike, no food, just water and salt. That's why we call it in Arabic and actually in Hebrew too, salt and water, mayo milk. It's a famous thing in our culture, based on the idea of sumud, because we got the hunger strike, the idea from Ireland. But in our culture, there is a principle that my mom knows it, my grandmom, everybody knows from our families, called the sumud, steadfast. This is very important principle in the Palestinian culture historically, since the British mandate. Anyway, so this is really need a lot of patience and not easy to be hungry for 10 days. With a group, I was 15, I never been hungry in my family. But you became either stronger, either you will have problems. That's the two options. And once you join, you sign to join. If you join, you don't stop. You can't stop. It's a group, there is organization, a committee from Fatah, Popular Front, Communist Party, all the organizations. And we had spokesmen and they decide what to do next. Anyway, the community in jail, the prisoners, they were very organized community, very intellectual. They were all students. Some of them studied outside of the country, and when they came back, they got arrested. So we had people with different languages. So I studied English, Hebrew, history, our history, and Israeli Jewish history, whatever you call it. And as I said, in the hunger strike, the last one, we did 17 days of hunger strike for all the prisoners, 4,000 people. To organize all the jails in one hunger strike with one spokesman, it was a big thing. Like it needed 2 years of planning. So it was not so much Middle East spontaneous thing. It was more German planning, 2 years in advance. But we have to do the coordination with something we call it capsula. So we write in a toilet paper, we write in Shifra code, and we rule these papers, soft papers, and we do plastic around them with fire, and when they take prisoners from jail to jail, they drink it or they put it in their mouth, and when they go to other jail, they check them. If they say to you, open your mouth, you have to swallow them immediately. You can't give it to them under any price. So then you go to toilet and so on. So and you give it to the committee in the other jail. That's how we coordinate. Or when we visit our families from the mouth, we give to our mouth. And so the experience in jail is very important for me. I lived my teenager time in jail. At that time, we were very inspired by Mandela, especially. So it was for me first the practical experience with the hunger strike and other methods, but then also studying about non-violence struggle in India, Gandhi, Mandela, the civil movement here. We also studied about Vietnam, but from different angles back in days. So me and some other prisoners actually, two things. One, believed no military solution for our conflict, and that's in jail. And that's what we say now in Combatants for Peace from both sides. And that's the practical. The ideology now, later on for me, it became more ideology and belief, not just because of practical reason. Because practically you can die. It's easy to find a way to die together. So we believe to find life together if it's possible. And this is a long journey. It's a long story. It's not easy. It's not 1 minute. So anyway, I studied the conflict from both perspectives, if you want. And after jail, in the second Intifada, what Muhammad was explaining about the shooting in Bethlehem, I know a bunch of these people in the second Intifada because these are my friends from jail. The idea in jail, many of the prisoners became leaders in the Palestinian organizations, in their community, because there is a lot of respect to the prisoners, as you know, in every conflict. Also, with the experience, many of them became like really important in their communities. So some of the people that I know believe in the armed struggle, the second Intifada. Me and a bunch of people, we advocate for non-violence Intifada. So this, I have to what do you call it in English? I have to decide at some point if I'm joining or not. It's not easy decision because not so much logic and thinking. You don't have the privilege to be sitting here or outside the conflict and to think logically and what's good or what's bad. Because you know, you see blood, you see your friends got killing and checkpoints, and I have friends that were in jail and all that. And also from our side, some people think, what can we do? This is a heavy army, this is a strong army, so let's die together. So we send somebody to kill in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem to bomb. And that's some people, but the majority, I remember 2001, during Arafat time, in Ramallah, the Palestinian political arena, the majority were not supportive of using violence. But the voice of the violent armed struggle, call it what you want, was so high. Anyway, in the end of the day, that's how I became, me and a few of my friends, meet Israelis the ex-Israeli soldiers in Bethlehem, and we formed later on Combatants for Peace. And as Muhammad said, we met people that from our age, and not easy to, you know, to build trust. We can talk about that. It's like 10 years, and next year we will have 10 years of Combatants for Peace. We will try to bring ex-combatants from different places. We actually have a good connection sometimes with Veterans for Peace from the Vietnam War, that you spoke about it. And for me personally, in between, I was doing also other things, bringing Israelis, Palestinians together. That's how I met Czech with Gadi, my friend. That's not exactly in Combatants for Peace, but I believe that working together, struggling together, non-violence is the only way for both people to find a space to live next to each other. Palestinians are there, we are there. Nobody can take our homeland from our heart. That's what we say, that's what we believe. And nobody will, you know what, a friend of mine told me, what can we do? Can we take responsibility over the Holocaust? I told him, no, I don't ask you this. But he assumed I'm thinking like that. Because for some people you became less Palestinian or less Israeli when you join a joint struggle. That's not easy. Israelis are there. They're not going back to Poland, let's put it this way. And Palestinians are not leaving their homeland, that's it. So we have practically to find a respect and accept the narrative of each other. And that's maybe, since you talk about one state, the big problem in Oslo, the separation policy is the worst thing happened, I guess. Thank you.
Well, I will tell my story, which is a bit different from Syria, but I think that there are some points that are similar in the way of the transition. So I was born in a kibbutz, in Kibbutz Getra. It's a small kibbutz in the Jordan Valley in Israel, near the border with the Hashemite Kingdom. And my grandparents were among the founders of the kibbutz. They came from Germany and Poland before World War II. And so I was raised in a small community where it was very important to serve your country and protect the borders and work the land, and to be an active member of the society. And at the same time, it was very clear for my parents and all the people in the kibbutz that the conflict with the Palestinians should be resolved by a two-state solution. So, but nobody ever talked about, for example, a small village near my kibbutz, which was called Jisr. It's the same name as Gesher, which means bridge in English. And nobody talked about all the people that used to live there and where did they go to. Because it was a village that was evacuated in 1948 war, for the independence Israeli war. So I never met any Palestinian back then. And for me as an Israeli, it was very important to go to the army, to join the IDF, and I really wanted to be an officer and to be a pilot. And this was my dream. So many years I tried to get ready for my military service as everybody else in Israel. But before I joined the army at the age of 19, I went to Tel Aviv to join a big peace demonstration in 1995. It was very, very big demonstration, all the peace movements in Israel, and I remember that I stood there with all my friends, And Yitzhak Rabin, who was the Prime Minister of Israel back then, he gave a big speech about the peace process, and he gave back then a lot of hope for people in Israel, especially young people. And I was very excited, really. And in that demonstration, he was shot and was killed. And I remember the moment it happened, I was shocked, of course. We just stood there, many people in the square, and it was a moment of crisis. And I remember that I came back to the kibbutz and I met my father, and I started to cry, and I didn't really understand why, but it was, I think, that the beginning of a process for me to understand that something is going really wrong in my country. That all of my hopes and beliefs about Israel are starting to shake, or a little. But I joined the army a month afterwards, and I served near the border with South Lebanon. And my job was to give all kinds of radio communication services to the IDF units in South Lebanon, and also to watch videos that came from drones flew over Lebanon. So I used to sit and see on the screen like this for hours footage that came from the drones, see people going on the street and cars going by, and sometimes bombs falling out of the sky and people running, and it was very silent. But this is what I used to do for days. And I really believe that this is my duty, and this is the only way to protect my country. And I never stopped and asked, well, what's going on here, or what can we do differently back then? And when I finished my military service, I went to the university, and after that, I went to live in Paris and to be a security officer in El Al, Israeli Airlines. So my job was to interview people who come to Israeli flights and to create some kind of profile and decide if they are terrorists or not, if they will bring a bomb on the plane or not. So I used to interview people like Suleiman and Muhammad for hours, asking them very personal and humiliating questions in order to make sure that they won't kill anyone in the flight. And I did it for a year and a half in Paris, and then I came back to Israel to study my second degree in the university. And I worked in a hospital in Haifa, and then I had a colleague over there. She is a Palestinian who lives in the Galilee, and she asked me, well, what did you do before you came here? So I told her that I used to work as a security officer in Paris. And in that moment, she was shocked. She stood up and she started to shout at me. How could you do this to my people? This is so humiliating. For me, it's an experience that I go through every time I want to fly out of Israel. And didn't you stop to think what's going on? What are you doing? And I really didn't understand what she was talking about. And I was very embarrassed. Because I really believe that it's okay to do everything in order to protect the country. And then in the summer of 2011, there was a big social protest in Israel regarding all kinds of social rights and social services in Israel, and I was very active as a psychologist. But at the end of this protest, I really felt that something is missing, because the Israeli-Palestinian conflict wasn't a part of this demonstration or this discussion about the situation inside Israel. And then a friend told me, well, there is a movement, binational movement, which is active in the West Bank and also in Israel. You must join us. And also for me, it was the first time that I decided that if I have such strict political views, so maybe I should go and meet Palestinians and get to know them. So I joined first activity of Combatants for Peace, and for the first time I crossed the green line intentionally and went to the West Bank. And it was a moment of decision, but I was terrified. All the way I remember that something bad will happen to me. And I arrived at a small village called Yanun, and we built some kind of a garden over there. And a Palestinian guy came and introduced himself. And he told me, well, hello, my name is Khder, I'm the Palestinian coordinator of the group, and I sell ice cream. I have an ice cream truck, and I bring ice cream from the West Bank to sell it in Jaffa and Haifa. And it was more, for me, it was more than I could handle. So I backed off and got on the bus and sat in my seat, and I was terrified. And he only said that he is selling ice cream, but I was so afraid and so embarrassed because me, I didn't know why, but this is what happened. So I joined another activity because I wanted to get the Palestinians call it better. So we went together with to an olive harvest in a small village called Jalud. And then few settlers came from the Esh Kodesh settlement, which is a very extreme settlement near Eli and Shiloh and Ma'ale Levona. And they hit us very, very badly, Israelis, Palestinians, and I was injured. And for the first time, I realized that the violence is everywhere. And I remember that the soldiers came and they threw tear gas on us, and everybody ran away, and I was with Israelis and Palestinians, and then they took me to a clinic in a village nearby. So it was very frightening experience for me, but also it was very special because we were Palestinians and Israelis together, trying to figure out what to do. So this was the moment I joined Tel Aviv Nablus group, Combatants for Peace. And in the last years, I am a member in the team that organizes the joint Israeli-Palestinian Memorial Ceremony, which is a very special event because, as you know, Memorial Day in Israel is a sacred day where Israelis remember all the people that died in the war. So it's a day that everybody join and sit together and hear songs and tell stories in a very special way. And in Combatants for Peace, we decided to challenge the narrative, to change it a bit, and to invite bereaved families from Palestine, to join bereaved families from Israel, and to share this moment of pain together. And this is a very special event because you can see Palestinian mothers and Palestinian and Israeli mothers sitting next to each other, telling about their loved ones. And people who come to this event are not the same when they go out, because this is a very sad day for everybody, but also gives a lot of hope. And I hope that we can change or break the circle of violence. So from a ceremony of 200 people, we are now a ceremony of 5,000 people with live streaming on the internet and so on. So we'll show you small film and then
אנו פעילים בתנועת לוחמים לשלום, ואנחנו מאוד נרגשים להיות כאן הערב, לראות את המוני האנשים שהגיעו. זו השנה העשירית שאנו מתכנסים יחד, ישראלים ופלסטינים, כדי לזכור שהמלחמה אינה גזרת גורל, שהיכולת לשנות את המציאות אינה בידינו. כולנו, ישראלים ופלסטינים, קורבנות של הסכסוך, של הכאב והאובדן, אבל גם מחולליו.
2002 تلقينا خبر استشهاد والدي على أيدي قوات الاحتلال عندما كان في طريق عودته للبيت.
המילים, קווים נגובות אחרונים, והערב צונח בהר, הופכות להיות המילים שלי. הערב שלי צונח בהר שלי, ובתוכחו של חזה אין בוקר ואין יום.
وعندما وصل إلى الشارع الالتفافي شارع بنوه المستوطنين كي يتمكنوا من الحركة دون الاحتكاك بالفلسطينيين، هاجمه مستوطن وأطلق عليه رصاصة وصلت إلى قلبه فأردته مكانه شهيدا.
חזרתי מבית הספר וראיתי שורת מכוניות מחוץ לבית. הבית המה אדם. בהיסטריה חיפשתי את אמא, והיא סיפרה לי שאח שלי, שברק, מת בצבא. את רגע ההודעה אף אחד אף פעם לא שוכח.
Change seems impossible. Consider our experience in South Africa. Our peaceful transformation did not fall out of the sky. Much as God helped made it possible. Our peace was the choice of so-called ordinary people. People just like you and me.
ושוב המילים בטקס יום הזיכרון בגן החמישה בערד, ואצלי בראש יש רק צעקות. מספיק, שטויות. דם החיילים הוא זול למנהיגים שלנו. בכלל דם הוא זול למנהיגים שלנו. יש דרך אחרת. מזמן הייתה.
ولم أقابلها من قبل، وبدأت رحلة المصالحة مع الذات ومعرفة الآخر واكتشافه، والأعمق أن تبدأ رحلة الشراكة في الألم والمعاناة حتى لو أننا نختلف في أسباب المعاناة.
لم تهتم حتى لمعاقبة القاتل. الشعور الأصعب بأن العدل لم يتحقق هنا، والحقد والغضب الذي رافقني يبدو أنه كان يستمر لولا أنني تعرفت على يهود آخرين كي أقوم بدور مترجمة للإنجليزية. عندما عزفت سونيتا على القيثارة فجأة أصبح بإمكاني رؤية البحر. هذا عوضني عن أنني لم أذهب للبحر أبدا حتى تلك اللحظة.
מצאנו מקלט תחת עץ זיתים, נחנו מעט. כשהיינו צעירים זאת הייתה תקופה אחרת. עוד היינו ילדים וקצת איבדנו את הדרך. אולי זה לא מוצלח.
עובדת מולי מיטל, שהיא שותפה לדרך הזאת, ואני גאה שאנחנו עובדים ביחד ויש לנו שיתוף פעולה.
ורק רוצה להגיד שאחרי שנתיים של עשייה מרובה, אני מאוד מתרגשת ומאוד מחזק אותי לעמוד כאן איתך.
Do remember, we are members of one family, the human family, God's family, all of us. God bless you, you healers of the Holy Land.
just to say a few words about our mission here also, because I think people with our talks and two films got a good idea about it, and I don't know if we have time for it also. But we decided for the first time after 9 years of Combatants for Peace, as we think we are bringing a new, different narrative to the conflict and different approach between the other groups that working there to bring Israelis and Palestinians together in different forums. So we decided to build a Friends of Combatants for Peace in America, North America. So anybody want to join or to be part of it, because we are talking about, we need fund also, we need the donation in general. That's part of my job as co-director with my Israeli friend, that he's unfortunately in the hospital in Boston. He's supposed to be here, because usually we had either 2 members or 4 together, but our Israeli friend, he's unfortunately got sick in Boston, so he's in the hospital since 2 weeks almost. He's getting better now. But we were working together to create Friends of Combatants in America and to do some fundraising also, because we never got a formal governmental money from you guys, for example, because of political reasons. Don't worry. So we really depend on friends and supporters from back home or from here mainly to support our activities. That's very costly. And as Muhammad was talking about the groups, just to understand, we are not one-man office sitting in Ramallah or in Tel Aviv. It's different groups in many areas, from Haifa and north of Israel, Palestine, to Hebron, south of West Bank, and Beersheba and Nablus. So to do one meeting in Bijala means to bring all these people in one place with a lot of money for transportation. And the other example, in Susia, south of Hebron, last non-violent demonstration, we did it with other organizations, because we believe in the cooperation with other groups as well. And we had 10 buses from Tel Aviv, Jericho, Nablus, Ramallah, Beersheba. That means like it was really 10,000 dirham. Maria's event, let's call it this way, I'm giving you full credit. Cost this year, this is like third of the budget of Combatants for Peace, 120,000 dirham. It's so costly for many reasons you can ask later. We have to bring a security company and the place in Tel Aviv. You know, not many services want to give you services, this kind of alternative event. So therefore we need help also financially, and also as we did this time, Carol is here, living around here, so you can be also in touch with her for any help or exchange ideas. We believe to work together as one family. If anybody will tell them
so. As I understood, we have those of you who can stay, that would be good. We have half an hour for Q&A. So just if any of you would like to leave before, before 1:30, that's fine. It's okay, because it was scheduled to finish at 1. Just to add to what Sulia said, their mission in the U.S. is crucial, actually. The D.C. area and all this area. This is where decisions makers, this is where public policy, this is where media, this is where most important decisions are made, and it's affecting Israel-Palestine immediately. So this is why we thought in the bigger picture that we need some presence in the U.S. as well as activities on the ground as well that involves collaborations between Arabs, Palestinians, and Jews. That's why we did fundraising last night in church. Tonight we're going to a Jewish community to do a fundraise as well. So we would like not just to fundraise, also to introduce an awareness and so on and so forth. So any of you who think that they would like to throw an event or to connect us with somebody who might be influential or expand our circle or do anything that can support the mission of Combatants for Peace, please be in contact with us. So we will have the list here. We will send you an email with these links, as well as if we have a link to this video, so you can also forward to your people. So on behalf of Combatants, I thank you very much, and it's open for Q&A now, just in case somebody wants to.
just before we open for Q&A, I really want to show the importance of this particular so what I wanted to say, I wanted to first of all show the importance of what this group is doing. And it's probably something, it's really revolutionary approach to what they're doing because we know how many dialogues were organized for years, how many dialogues, how many meet groups and people were coming and exchanging their narratives. An idea was that when we listen to other narratives and we hear new narratives, then we will change and understand it. It's very important when they tell stories, but I think this group really going beyond this particular. This group is really trying to change the way how people live. We know very well in conflict analysis and resolution that there is a very huge step between attitude and behavior. You can change attitudes of the people. You can tell them, yeah, we sympathize, we have empathy for other people. But then it will turn into behavior they probably will not do anything, or they will be joining some negative activity again, some violence again. What this group is really trying to do is to transform attitudes which already start developing on the ground, attitudes about the peace and readiness for peace into real actions, and this is what we see it's really as maybe alternative type of governments, where people, civic movements, then people trying to make themselves responsible for everyday functions of the state. I just want to give example from the conflict which never developed into violence, but everyone predicted. I myself from Crimea, which I still consider part of Ukraine. And in early 90s, everyone was telling it will be next Chechnya. It was a situation that still pro-communist government was creating inflated hate narratives about arrival Crimean Tatars. Their ideas of them as traitors, as Nazi collaborators were put in every single newspaper every single day. Then Crimean Tatars returning to their homeland were denied access to resources, to water, to jobs, to everything. There were a lot of very similar dynamics, and everyone was told, no, it's Chechnya, it's not Chechnya. And what we did was a lot of activists in this time. One of the, I think, the most effective ways were to bring together religious leaders, Crimean Tatars who are Muslims, and Russian and Ukrainians who were Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, and organize groups with religious leaders and just with community leaders to address everyday problems, to bring water into the village, to increase, to bring better textbooks to the school. And it was 90s and everything was ruined, people did not have even electricity in their house. Very bad situation in Ukraine at this time. So these groups were putting this energy which was there into resolving everyday issues for their community. They were busy addressing what need to be addressed instead of thinking how we break each other. And what I see, and I believe so, I do not say that because of this, but we did a lot of things. Violence never occurred in Crimea, then everyone predicted it would be there. And I think what you are doing is exactly bringing this energy which is there, bringing this attitude which are growing, attitude of peace which are growing there, into creating this cross-cutting identity of people who fight for peace, not just sit, eat ice cream and create balloons and love and hug each other, but people who believe that peace is everyday, very hard activity. Peace, building peace, it's not about hugging peace. Building peace is about involved in very hard struggle. And this is very important that what you are doing, bringing these people together and identifying such events. And I have a question for you, and we'll start with it. How do you identify these activities for you? Do you coordinate what groups will do? Or if groups will come with their interested? How you think you can involve more groups in such activities? And finally, I understand that you probably have a lot of negative reaction from the state. How do you do this? Yes, and we can have more patience, so unite with mine. Okay, thank you very much. And if you took a time, maybe we'll mingle with participants, but we really have to finish the official part of it. Again, thank you, Carol, for bringing this wonderful group.
Thanks a lot.
For the work that you are doing here. And thank you, and I'm sure everyone will speak more words about what you are doing. And it's a real pleasure and real honor to have you here at our.
Oh, please come to Korea and be here.
Thank you. Thank you.